Hey there, it's Daniel Johnson Jr. with day 30 of National Podcast Post Month. Yes, I realize I'm coming in a couple of days behind. The laptop that I used to produce this was actually in the shop. So a couple of days later, but I figured this would be a good opportunity to kind of close out the National Podcast Post Month series with some feedback that I have, and just kind of as a wrap-up of some of the series. So let me go ahead and get to some of the feedback that I got. I got some really good feedback from a number of people, as I talked about during the entire show. One was Dawn Campbell Geisman here in the Cincinnati area, and one of the things that she mentioned was she actually wrote a lot of feedback, more than I'm not necessarily going to read here in the email, but it was really a good critique of me and the mannerisms that I've done here in this. As I practiced answering the job interview questions, a lot of things related to mannerisms, some of the things related to video quality, and just take a quick look at some of the things that she had said. She really liked the approach and the initiative. Wondering about the analytics that I have to prove that this was a really good idea. A little bit about this is that I'm going to try to keep an eye on the time here. Obviously this is something that is going up on the internet, and it's going to be up there in perpetuity. Hopefully you will find it maybe later on. Right now, as I'm recording this, it's early December 2009, and you may find us in 2010. You may find us in 2011. You may find us many years from now. This entire series. So my just thinking is that it'll. These numbers obviously will increase over time. I haven't yet seen that there have been a lot of people that have followed this, and I think some of it just involves a lot of the ways that it's been promoted or not promoted. It's just, again, a big experiment for me. This entire thing was. And again, one of the things that I'd mentioned to her is I was just really glad that anybody watched. And I know some of these people, some of this is, as I've talked to a number of the different people about this, it's something that people are coming back in many days, many weeks after I've posted these videos. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it changes over time. She mentioned that if I'm job seeking, then the fact that potential employers will find these podcasts, and talked a little bit about the quality of them being somewhat grainy, and I think a lot of this has to do with the technical aspects of recording onto the computer, and converting from WMV to MP4, uploading to YouTube, some of those things that are related to it. And the fact that I'm using a webcam that's been a 1.3 megabyte pixel web camera here on the laptop. So those are some of the things that she had mentioned there. I also I mentioned a couple of times where the earlier ones, I had the laptop down like this, and so it came across as though I'm looking down, and that kind of just subtly appeared as arrogant. I kind of noticed that, and that's why, for these latter parts, I'm actually holding the laptop in my hand as I've been doing these. Let's see. She mentioned a number of different things related to some of the Veterans Day or the Thanksgiving Day types of things that for people that are coming in just really looking to get some information about the podcast, or just to have the answer, that a lot of that just seemed extraneous at the moment. And you can kind of see what she's saying, having gone back and watched these a little bit over time. But I think that in general, it was just something that because this was happening on the day of the podcast coming out, thought it was nice to acknowledge. If I might go back, if I was to do this over again, I probably might go back and make these a little bit snappier and to the point. She mentioned some things about ums and ahs while I was collecting my thoughts. Some of the things about this verbal mannerisms. These are things that I'm just going to have to continue to work on. So those are some of the things that she had mentioned. Then I got some audio feedback from Chris from Las Vegas, and here's what Chris had to say.
Hey, Daniel Johnson Jr. from Cincinnati, Ohio. This is Chris Meyer from Las Vegas. Hey, wanted to give you some feedback on your 30 Days series with the interviewing questions. When you started the series, I was actually applying for a new position with my current company, and your series prepared me for the series of 2-panel interviews that I would go through. Although I didn't get the job, the hiring manager gave me feedback that every one of the interviewers was impressed with how prepared I was with answering the questions. So I have to give that credit to your series. Got me thinking and able to come up with the answers to a lot of hard interviewing questions. So thanks for the series and keep up the great work.
Well, thank you, Chris, for sharing your thoughts there on that. I'm glad. I know we had provided a number of the questions that I had answered throughout the series, and that was very good for me to try to practice them. So thank you so much for sharing your feedback. And just a little bit more about this. Let me make sure I got enough time here. Very free form here. Okay, I got about less than 4 minutes to go here. A little bit about the production process. Again, this one, some of the objectives were for me to practice editing with video to see if I can produce content on an ongoing basis, regular basis. A little bit about my production process as I recorded these videos, a number of them in the same day, in the same time, and just produced them, and then I set them up to be scheduled to go out. This is a trick that I had heard from other people who blog. Is they get into it, they make some time to be creative and to do some writing, and then they just create several different blog posts, and then they schedule those to go out sporadically throughout the week. I found that to be very, very helpful. I don't think that I could have sat down here every single day to do a recording and to produce it because of the time that's involved in video production. Would I do something like this again for next year in 2009? I'm not exactly sure if I would or not. It took a lot out of me to do this. I'm kind of pleased with the results as I've gone back and looked as an audience member, as a reader of the blog, so I'm definitely encouraged by that. This was kind of hard, and I think that if I hadn't had something a tangible benefit for me in doing this, I'm not sure if I would have done this. I did like that I was able to practice with some of the titling that you've seen and some of the other aspects of just producing with the titling, the music, and being able to learn how to post it up onto YouTube. There's a lot of things that I could have done better, that can be done better, but I think in general this has been a very, very good experiment. And thank you so much for checking this out. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Daniel Johnson Jr., DanielJohnsonJr.com is my main website. You can find this over at GetThatJobOnline.com, and do check out HowIGotMyJob.com if you haven't checked it out, especially if you know somebody that's looking for a job and wants to be inspired. So for now, this is Daniel Johnson Jr. saying, I don't know when the next time we'll be doing this, but see you around, and I'll see you online, and make it a great day. This is the first time I'm actually wearing white. I don't know exactly because the background is kind of white. Does it show? I guess it's okay. All right, time to record.